last time we talked about native compose navigation, just the basics, and we also pointed out a couple of the problems that arise when you use native compose navigation. So if you missed that one, go ahead, check it out. I'll put it in the description, but let's go ahead and jump into Android Studio and talk about how we can clean up what we left off with in that video. So here we kind of have exactly what we left off with last time. We have this nav host, and it's got some these composable extension functions off of nav graph builder in it, and to navigate we're just using these string literals, and so that's kind of error prone. You have to know the root name, you have to know all of the parameters it accepts, you have to know whether they're optional or required, and that's not really a safe way to do business. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come in and we are going to create a new file that is called home navigation. And what we're going to do in here is, if you go back to the navigation screen, you'll see that within this nav host lambda, we have access to the nav graph builder. So what we're going to do in home navigation is we're going to create a function and extend off of nav graph builder, and it's going to be called add home screen. And in add home screen, we're going to place all of this. And so the first thing you'll notice is we don't have access to the nav controller, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to hoist that up for now. And what we're going to do is we are going to create a constant called home route, and there we're going to place the routes, just so that's in a variable, so that if we end up using this route somewhere else, we have it stored somewhere. We're not going to mess up typing and break our app that way. Cool. So then we're going to come back to navigation, and we're going to say, instead of this block, we can replace that with just add home screen, and it takes those same things. So far, there's a little bit of cleanup here, and we also are able to, that's our start destination, so we're able to change that to a constant. But we're still, we still have the problem with this note screen composable. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to create note navigation file, and if I spell it right, it's usually better. And we're going to do basically the same thing to start off. So we got a function that's going to extend off of nav graph builder. It's going to be add note screen, and in that we're going to place everything that was here. And we're going to need a way to on back press. So that's the only thing that we'll actually have to pass into the add note screen. And so that's good. And so now we're going to, this is where we start to really see the benefit of this method. So we're going to create a private value that's called note route. And that's going to be set to this note route right here. And we are going to create a constant for the note ID arg. And we're going to use that. Again, the biggest problem with using these string literals is that you can really easily mistype and then not know why something's not working. So what we're going to try to do here is create constants for as many of these string literals as possible. So yeah, we create a constant for note ID arg, and you'll see that we use it twice. And then we also use it down here. And then we're actually going to extract this as well. Private val note argument. And not a lot of change there. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to remedy the fact that in here, so first of all, let me do that. Let me say add note screen. and we need an on back pressed. And on back pressed, we're just going to navigate up, right? And so right away you can tell that this looks a lot cleaner, but we're still left with this mess, right? And so what we're gonna do is when you navigate, you use the nav controller. And so we're gonna go back to note screen, and we're going to create an extension function off of nav controller. And that function is going to be called navigate to note. And so navigate to note is going to do the heavy lifting for us here. So it's going to take a note as an argument, and what it's going to do is it's going to obfuscate the string literal from the caller of the navigate to the owner of that string literal. So what I'm saying is instead of every screen in your app needing to know the details of that string for that particular route, for a different screen that it's trying to navigate to, it's just going to find off of the nav controller some extension function that will allow it to navigate to whatever screen it wants. And so here we're going to say navigate to that, and then we can just say note ID. And just like that, now we can get rid of this guy here. Nav controller dot navigate to note, and that's what is passed in. So we can actually use this notation in here, which I think looks a lot cleaner. Cool. So that looks a lot better. And then we'll create another one. It's called navigate to create note. That one actually doesn't take any arguments. Oops. Nope. So now you can tell, hold on, let's use this guy right here just to clean that up. So now you can see that only one file in the entire app has to know what the route of this screen is, and every other file, every other caller just gets to use these nice little function that we've created in order to navigate. And like I said, that just obfuscates the complexity of composed navigation away from the caller to the screen in question, right? Cool. And so now the only thing we have to do is let's go to the note view model, and if you remember, we're using a note ID argument here. But that's it. So now when we go ahead and compile the app, everything should work the same, except now it's a lot less error prone, right? Now, when you look at this nav host, this is a lot more digestible. All I'm saying is, hey, I'm adding a screen, and there's a couple of things that screen might do navigation-wise. If I go and look here, this is digestible as well because I'm only looking at the navigation logic for one screen, and same thing when I come here. And so it's just a way to really simplify each file in your app. And like I said, these are private so that screens only expose what they really need to expose to other parts of the app. So no one else can access the note route except for this file, so that nobody is tempted to attempt to navigate to the note screen without using our pre-made functions to do so, because that would be unsafe, right? This is how we get type safety in composed navigation, is by creating these extension functions off of nav controller. So you can see here, I got some notes. I can click it, I can go to note 0, so that navigation works. And if you're not familiar with this app, it's explored a little bit more in my last video, but let's just say note number 3, or actually 2. And let's see, look at save, and bam. So, like I said, this works exactly like it did before, but now we have simplified logic, we have separation of concerns, we have type safety, and that's all going to make your app safer and significantly more scalable. So I hope this video is a little bit shorter than the last one, easier to digest, but yeah, thanks for watching.